Well, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. I was just playing that song to just, bring in some good positive vibrations into this room before we get started for the Empower Hour today. This week, we're going to focus on the 4 agreements. And as all of you know, in 3 weeks, actually, to be exact, I'll tell you the date, the Thursday to be exact, on February 2nd, 3 weeks from now, we're going to be starting a book called Unstoppable Self-Confidence, and we're going to go chapter by chapter each week. So those of you who are interested in joining us for the Empower Hour or following along with the book, it's a very easy read. It looks a little scary. We'll go through it together chapter by chapter and discuss it every Thursday. We'll start that on the 2nd. So if anybody's interested, I put a link in my bio to Amazon where the book is. No, I do not get royalties. I'm actually going to read this along with you because it looks really good. It's really interesting. It talks about procrastination. It talks about trying to learn your priorities. It talks about the power of possibility versus consequence, eliminating the habit of fear and worry, like all these great things. The situations, how to deal with situations, how to deal with difficult situations. I mean, this book is full of applicable strategies and things that we can apply in our lives to make it a little bit better, right? I think I started last week. We all come to the table with something. We all come to the table with a past. We all come to the table with habits that might not be healthy habits, that might not be healthy behaviors, and so forth, right? And myself included. Right, I'm not, sitting here in front of you and saying that, that I'm not influenced by the outside, right? But today we're going to talk about 4 agreements. The 4 agreements, which is a very, very, very popular book by Miguel Ruiz, and he talks about these 4 agreements that we can live by, that we can adopt, that we can remind ourselves of every day, so that when we wake up and we face the outside world, that we can get through the day. Get through the day. And most importantly, get through the day, but get through the day by staying on top of the world, which is extremely important for us to do. And some of us just wake up and we just don't have it. We don't have it in us. We don't have the energy. Can't do it. How do we get it? Well, got to start with self-awareness. You got to start with taking care of you. You got to start with making sure that you go for walks and getting water. And I know this time of year, it's pretty cold for some of you, which makes it more challenging and tough. But we have to figure something out, something for us to do to make sure that we get out every day and not just allow the walls to swallow us in. It's extremely important. So as we discuss the 4 agreements today, we'll draw on some of my experiences, but I would love for you folks to share all of yours as we go today. And remember, we're meeting every Thursday at 6 p.m. for Empower Hour session. We're going to start on February 2nd with a book to give people time to get used to what's going on here every Thursday. And if you want to grab the book, you can grab the book just before we get started. So, Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements. Think about when you grew up. Think about how you've learned your habits. Where do you think you've learned all of your habits? And some of the habits that might be tough to live with, right? Like anxiety or things that you might do in response to some things or so forth. But where did you learn all of that? It didn't just show up. And not everybody responds the same way to things. But where did you learn it? You learned it from your environment. You learned it when you were growing up. You learned it from your parents. You learned it from siblings, perhaps. It really depends on everybody's experiences differ, of course. But what I do know is working with life coaching clients on this app for now almost 3 years, that most of us who have issues of control or we have issues of things of definitely control, like you like to control your environment, you like things the way they are. Let's say, for instance, you meet somebody new and you're interested in them in a love sense, right? And your expectation of them is that they'll wish you good morning, wish you good night, maybe FaceTime you a few times or so forth. What you have to remember is that's your expectation of them. Are they stated expectations, or is it something that you just expect somebody to do for you? I don't know. A lot of times we can want to bang our head through glass because we're trying to get somebody to do something. Think about kids. That's a great thing, right? Kids in general. Try to get your kids to do something regularly for you. If you're some single moms out there, take out the trash or whatever, right? It's a little difficult to do. And it's even more difficult to try to expect an adult to deliver some kind of expectation that we have, right? So it's extremely important that, we are self-aware about what it is that we're doing and how we're navigating our own lives. It's really important to be self-aware. And I think self-awareness is something that it's definitely a competency, and it's definitely a competency and a skill at the same time, in my opinion. And a lot of us just don't have it. A lot of us are not self-aware about how our behaviors influence the people around us. A lot of us sometimes are in spaces where we just can't see the wrecking ball that we're becoming in situations. Those moments, those people that are technically or causing these issues are people that are not really paying attention to themselves. These are people who are not taking care of themselves, that are more invested in other people than what they should be focused on, which is themselves. My sister, sometimes, I really have to laugh at her. I have a twin sister, and she lives pretty close, but I have to laugh at her quite a bit. You have a sibling, or you have a family, or even a friend that just kind of calls you and then, asks you every crying detail about situations, just detail. Like every little detail. What time? When is this? How long is it going to be? What's this going to do? Like, what's it to you? Why are you paying so attention to me and cataloging my stuff when, you're a whole person over there on the other side of the aisle, and you should be focusing on what you're doing day to day, not worrying about me all the time. But self-awareness is so critically important to our relationships with other people too. Our relationships with other people. Like, you have a friend who you try your hardest to get them to see what you can see that's not good for them, right? Whether it be a relationship that they're in, right? And you're getting all sorts of red flags and they're not. They're like, oh, I love them. Oh my God, they're the best thing since sliced bread. And you're just like, what are they looking at? Are we looking at the same person? Self-awareness is so important, but it could be gone in 2 seconds. So you need to make sure that you're tapped into yourself at all times to make sure that you're self-aware and you recognize how everything around you is being influenced by your actions or even by the actions of others. But Miguel Ruiz left us adults, right? After we left the care of our parents, we had to fend for ourselves, tried to give us these 4 agreements that we needed to make to ourselves, promise ourselves every day that we would follow. The first one is being impeccable with your word. Second, don't take things personally. We'll talk about and unpack that one a little bit more. That's a big struggle for a lot of people. Agreement number 3, maybe even equally as difficult. Don't make assumptions, right? We fill the unknown all the time with something that we think it should be. And very often, whatever we think it should be is like, Armageddon, right? It's like doomsday theory that likely won't happen, but our minds go there. And then the 4th is to always do our best. Let me go back to that don't make assumption piece. You got to think about human history. We've only been on this planet but for a couple 100,000 years. Humans, the way Homo sapiens, us, you and I, right? Even less than that. This environment that we live in, civilization, like homes and all that stuff, I don't think this was in our plan. This kind of just happened, right? I think if you think back to like the caveman days, we were just roaming the planet, just like any other, mammal or any other animal on Earth. We were just sort of in groups, and we would move around from place to place and search for food and search for good weather. Our minds are geared to think negatively. Why? Well, when you're out in the bush and you're eating, what do you need to look for? You need to look for a threat, predators. So at all times, our mind is always going to think about these things. And that's what triggers our anxiety. These things are a part of our biology, part of our evolution, right? So we already know that our minds are going to go to the negative without even any help. And we don't need any additional thoughts or thinking, like making assumptions, to continue that track down that path, because that's not going to bring us anything pleasing. What I mean is that every day I wake up, I have to silence the beast. Every day I wake up, I need to remind myself that I need to be in the positive frame. Every day I wake up, I need to remind myself these 4 agreements before I go out the door. And think about our morning sometimes, especially if you're a parent or so forth. Your morning is devoted to your children, getting them, and then finally when you drop them off and get to work and you can breathe, you're diving right into work. I mean, we forgot about ourselves in the morning ritual. We forgot that we have to remind ourselves to reset the day to make sure that it's a good one. We just overlook it. We certainly do. So let's start with the first agreement. Being impeccable with your word. What does that mean? Being impeccable with your word. Well, Miguel Ruiz puts it, it's speaking truth and love. Speaking truth and love. Not speaking from any part of that includes emotions, right? Like when we're jealous, or if we're hot under the cuff, under the collar, right? And we just fly off the handle, things like that. Being impeccable with your word is extremely important. Truth and love. Speaking truth and love. So if somebody asks you how you're doing, speak the truth. If you're not in a good place, you're feeling beat down, what's the problem with sharing that? Why are we so guarded as people? What's so personal about having a bad day? Everybody has them, some more frequent than others. But what's so wrong with saying, I'm not doing okay? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not at all. But it depends how you say it. Because there are some people that you ask, and it's like a rite of passage. And then all of a sudden they have this enormous victim mindset, right? And then it just sort of spews all over the place. And then you've got to listen to all this stuff when you got 100 other things you need to worry about. Nobody really wants to be in the room when somebody is talking like that. Like, just think about a friend that you talk to on the phone like that. How many of you actually are doing other things while that's going on? I imagine you would. You're still there for that person, but this person is going around and around and around and around and around and around, and it doesn't seem like they have any way off of this merry-go-round that they're on. But what changes that merry-go-round for that person in the moment? Well, not talking to you, because after they finish talking to you, they'll go to somebody else and say the same thing. Then they'll go to the next person and say the same thing. But the person is not doing anything with action, right? The person is just simply complaining. The person is being a victim. And sometimes, for some people, being a victim is extremely empowering. It can work both ways. How can being a victim be empowering? Well, you're fulfilling what it is that you're looking for in that moment, which is A, attention, and B, right? And B, they want attention. They want to be the center of attention. And they want people to feel bad for them. Sympathy. Sympathy. When somebody asks you, how's your day going? Do not use the word fine. That's a very triggering word for people like me. Because we know when you say fine, you don't mean fine. We just know that for a fact. You cannot fool everybody with that. You cannot fool everybody with the fine. The fine doesn't work. Be truthful. Be impeccable with your word. Tell people how you feel. You know what I think the problem is? I don't think people know how to really coexist with emotions. And the other thing is, I think we've been lied to. There are more things than just death and taxes that we are promised in life. And that is emotions. We are definitely promised to experience emotions. How we handle and manage our emotions is different among all of us. But we are promised emotions. So don't take things personally. That's agreement number 2. That's a very hard thing to do. Not take things personal. Not to be sitting in a conversation when people are talking and the only thing you walk away from that conversation with is something that somebody said like 30 minutes ago. That word or whatever was they said triggered you, made you feel like they were talking about you. Meanwhile, they weren't, or likely weren't. And then you leave, and all you do is stew over what this person said. Meanwhile, 5 minutes ago, you were just with those people, and you could have asked them point blank, who was that about? Oh, so-and-so. Oh, okay. Thank you for the clarification. But instead, you choose to just zip it up, not say anything at all. I don't know why. And just stew all night, all next day, and it knocks you off of your track, and it just takes you to places that you never needed to go. All because why? No. All because you had a misunderstanding, and all because you didn't ask for clarification. You didn't ask if it was about you, or to figure out whatever it was that was bugging you, to just see what it was. Now, I cannot tell you how many times I come across this, even myself in a day, but there are so many people out there that just walk away from interactions without asking any questions, and all they do is take away the bad, not the good. Nobody takes away the good. Who takes away the good? Just think back to your past. Think about a time in your past. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a good one. It's going to be something that brought you a little trauma, emotion. How can we make sure that we keep all of these joyful moments in our basket that leave us filled, that allow us to move forward in life? It's a little tough. But not taking things personal, I think for me, and don't make assumptions, I think for me, are the 2 most difficult agreements. You know, when you take things personal, you literally give up your power. When you allow somebody else's words to become truth for you, you've given up your power. You just gave it away. Your power's in your voice. That's where it is. So you need to ask for clarification. And anytime you're unsure, I can't tell you how many nights I didn't sleep, all because I was thinking that something was about me when it wasn't about me. You know, and people used to tell me, you know, this is the world. The world doesn't spin around you, right? It's not always about you. But we tend to just insert ourselves sometimes. I don't know why, but we do. But we have to be careful about how we take things personally. Because when you take things personally, how do you feel? How does it make you feel? Is it going to make you feel like you're going to go run a 5K? No. Does it make you feel that you're worthy? No. Does it make you feel that you're loved? No. Does it make you feel fulfilled? No. Defeated? Bad? Brings you down? Anxiety sets in? Why don't these people like me? Why don't these people like me? What's going on? Makes you feel like poop, right? Doo-doo. All of that. The question is why are you worried about what people think? Isn't it for you to say what you want to be? Isn't it for you to choose that? Isn't that the beauty of life and individualism and everything else? But go on this big fight that, oh, I am me. This is who I am. Except we go through our day and then we get knocked off by somebody else. Is it envy? Are we envious of other people? No. Wouldn't be envy. We wouldn't admit that. But we need to be careful. We need to remember that our journey is our journey. We need to remember that nobody else can dictate which direction we go. We need to remember that we don't have to live other people's expectations of us. We certainly don't. We want to be unapologetically and uniquely you. That's what you want. But you're certainly not going to be that. And you're certainly not going to feel confident and comfortable in your skin if you're comparing yourself to other people all the time. That's their journey. Okay, this person aced the math test. I don't like math. Does that mean I'm less than? No. Why would it? Does somebody say that we need to know everything in life? Nobody likes to know it all. Remember who's in the driver's seat. You or them. And the good news is you can choose that. You get to decide who's in the driver's seat. And hopefully it's you. Assumption number 3, agreement number 3 is don't make assumptions. That's a tough one. Don't make assumptions. We make assumptions for everything. Soon as there's a little bit of ambiguity, a little bit of unknown, we have to fill it. It's like a disease. It's so hard. I mean, when you get an email, let's put it this way. I think all of us can agree with this, though. You get an email on like Friday afternoon from somebody, hey, come see me. You go home and you saw that email, you didn't see it, and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what do they want to talk to me about? What do they want to talk to me about? Holy Moses, and then you got to go the whole weekend trying to figure out what conversation you missed because somebody said, I'd like to talk to you. Again, we stew on it, but we stew on it. We make the most craziest assumptions at the same time about what it could be, that we're fired, that we're good for nothing, that we're in trouble. All these things start coming through our minds, right? They're doomsday things. It's not even real. And then when you go and you find out what it is, and it's like, hey, I just want to invite you to the happy hour next week. Didn't want to write it in an email. You spent your whole weekend freaking out, couldn't even think of anything else, all because you were being invited to a happy hour. Tell me how that's a good use of your time or anybody's time. No, it's not. You robbed yourself from joy that weekend because you were concerned, you were worried about what you needed to be talked about, and meanwhile it was nothing even that deep. It was nothing even that deep. Don't make assumptions. So hard to do. I think we do it. I don't know what if you think about what dimension of life, like I feel like we make assumptions more in our relationships than anything else. Like love relationships, we make assumptions all the time. Am I good enough? Are they cheating on me? Will they cheat on me? Oh, listen, if you got to think about that all the time, then you shouldn't even be in the relationship in the first place. Why even be in it if you have to question yourself all the time? How fulfilling is that? It's not. Are you really living? No. No. And people who do that, I feel, are robbing themselves of who they truly are. Maybe some of us believe that we have a plan and it's all made out for us. Okay. But a lot of us should realize that we can reach for new heights all the time. Our plans change. Things change. So do feelings. Maybe you've outgrown somebody. Why does it always need to be like a negative thing, right? Oh, the relationship is horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. No, I think you've realized that things have changed. The dynamic has changed. Situation has changed. You've outgrown each other. You've reached your maximum, right? So is it okay? Yeah, of course that's okay. I mean, nobody said that you have to, put yourself in jail and stay there. Nobody said you had to do that. Although you might be sitting there looking at the kids, or you might be sitting there thinking about other things and saying, oh, that's that. But nobody said you had to stay. Nobody said that. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. Agreement number 4. Always do your best. Always do your best. That's it. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. What does that look like? Well, for some of us, we do a stellar job and then, we question ourselves afterwards, right? That's not doing your best. That's driving yourself crazy. That's what that is. That's, fixing yourself up for disaster. That's what that is. Second guessing, thinking, blah, 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 right? You do it. Move on. What's next in life, right? Do your best in something. Give it up, move on. I know, here's another thing. Perfectionism gets me all the time, right? To the point where I'm like trying to do something or work on something and like I can't even finish it, or I've sat here and I haven't even lifted a finger because all I'm doing is thinking about this huge thing that I have to accomplish. And I can't even breathe. And some people will say, hey, but that's procrastination. That's what you're feeling. And I'm like, well, because I'm actually sitting here wanting to do it. That's not the problem. It's just that I sit down here and I become overwhelmed by all of what needs to be done. And a perfectionist person will become overwhelmed with their work more often than not because they want to make sure that it's perfect. I'll give you a great example. If you're a student, let's say you're a student, this happens all the time, right? If you're in school or college or whatever, you get an assignment from your professor and you're trying to figure it out, decode it, follow the instructions, do what you got to do with it, right? And then you get stuck and then you end up doing tons of work, and then you have somebody else who turned in 3 pages of work and you both got an A. And you're just sitting there scratching your head like, how did she get an A too? I got an A, I did all this work, and they just did half of the work that I did. Well, you know what? They read the instructions. We sat there and we tried to think that we were solving the world's problems in one activity. Or at least that's what we think it needed to be. But that's not what the instructions on the assignment said. We did it to ourselves. I remember being in college and them saying, well, here's the thing. I always used to think that if you do all that you can, that's amazing, right? Like, do more. It can't hurt you, right? That was until I went into my PhD program. And when I was in my PhD program, I wrote a paper. The assignment called for 9 pages. Mine was like 23. And I was so excited to turn it in. I'm like, here's me, look at me. Here you go, yeah. And the professor said, oh, wow, looks like you really did a number on this. You worked hard. I'll read to page 9 and that's it. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? What do you mean? I did all this work and you're only going to read 9 of the 22, 23 pages that I provided you? How are you going to grade the assignment? I only did 9 pages. I'm not reading past 9 pages. I've got 15 people in the class and I'm only reading 9 pages each. I almost had a stroke. But it was in that moment I learned that I have been putting myself through hell. My perfectionism was putting myself through hell, and I didn't even need to go through it. I didn't need to write 22 pages. I did it because I thought it would be great, but I also realized that I took a lot away from me in that process. You see, perfectionists focus on everything else but themselves. They focus on everything that needs to be done or how it should be done. And what they don't realize is they're robbing themselves of their available time to spend on other things that could be equally as fulfilling. So how do you check that? How do you recognize that you're doing more than you need to? How do you recognize that what you've done is enough? At what point do you believe yourself when you say enough is enough? I've seen people just go right back to it. Right back in the saddle, right back on the merry-go-round. Right back on the merry-go-round. So your boss or your professor, whomever takes this product, oh, this is great, thank you so much, and moves on. But you're so dang emotionally attached to that project you just finished that you're looking for more than just here's the next assignment. You're looking for a lot more than where's the next assignment. And you're not going to get it. And then when you leave that interaction, you feel deflated. You feel like work sucks, right? It's not fair. Blah, 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 blah. But we need to remember who did it. We did. We did it to ourselves. We caused the additional anxiety in ourselves. Where did it come from? Your past. You see, I noticed a pattern. I can't prove it, but I've noticed a pattern. Those people who had very crazy childhood, let's say strict parents, everything was sort of like angst and haywire all the time. We actually, what I'm learning is that most of us who've had that experience and younger happen to be the ones who are more controlling of our environments now, because things were so out of control, we couldn't control them, we couldn't influence it, we were just sort of run over like a truck because of the rules and the way and the strictness and everything else, that now we have the freedom to control our environment. And we just like overdo it to the point where it's like we become like this. We push people out sometimes when they need to be, just to make room to just protect the whatever little ounce we can get, whatever little nugget we can get out of it. I see a lot of you saying yes because you're agreeing. I don't know if it's true, but it just seems to be a pattern that I'm recognizing through as I do this more and more. So how do we fix something that is ingrained in us? How do we fix that? And it's not easy, certainly not, because every day you need to check it. Every day you need to remind yourself that it exists. You see, what we don't do is we don't remind ourselves of our weaknesses every day. Because when you have, or you are aware of your weaknesses, you can change your day-to-day behaviors so that they don't become a thing for you in a day. But when you ignore your weaknesses because they don't feel good, that's when they creep up on you when you least expect it and knock you off your feet. You're like, how the hell did I get here? Why am I feeling this way? I was just fine. No, you weren't. You were in a tunnel. You weren't paying attention to anything, but you needed to pay attention to yourself in that time. But what you were doing is you got stuck in a routine, you got stuck in the rut, and the day-to-day activities just were just a cyclical thing. Boom, boom, boom. Come home from work, throw up your stuff, go to sleep, do this, do that, do the other thing, right? You spent no time taking care of you in that process. So you lost yourself. You became distant from yourself. And that's when those things start to take turns for the worst. That's when those anxieties creep up. That's That's when those things from your past just come up and grab you and pull you down in moments when you're like, wow, where did this stuff come from? And it's like a ton of bricks busting down the wall. If you don't force yourself every day to remind yourself of these things, the power of biology and evolution will catch you. Again, I said at the beginning, we haven't been on this planet all but for 100,000 years. And I don't think we were really supposed to be living like this, right? In homes, with heating and everything else, right? We were in the bush and we were constantly looking for threats because they existed. So our mind is already negative. It already is thinking of the worst possible case scenario. That's why we make assumptions. That's why we overthink. That's why we take things personally, because it's easy. It's easy to think negatively. It's so easy. Talk about the things that you love about you. Talk about the things that you wish you could change. The wish you can change list is probably a bit longer than the other one. If I ask you your strengths and weaknesses, your weaknesses column will be a lot longer than the strengths column. We spend a lot of time in the negative space. And the only way for you to change that is to switch it to the positive. That is why when you go on your health kicks and you start taking care of you, that it comes in spurts and it never really just stays consistent, because we get challenged by emotions in our environment all the time. You're always promised that something bad's going to happen. It's just a fact of life. But it doesn't mean when the bad rolls around that it's got to knock everything else out of equilibrium. And the only way that won't happen is if you focus on you. You engage in self-care, you take care of yourself, you sleep, you drink water, you wake up, and you remind yourself of these things every day. And each of us have a different set of criteria we need to remind ourselves of, right? Like some of us need to remind ourselves to have a bit of patience, I'm sure. Patience. That's a good one. I need to have patience with those around me. It's a good thing to remember every day. So, Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements again. Be impeccable with your word. If I ask you how your day going, fine is not going to cut it. Don't take things personally, which is extremely difficult to do these days. Don't make assumptions. Right? Those doomsdays, it's very easy for us to think negatively. It's very easy for us to go there. So now that you know that that's there and your mind is geared in the negative, you have to remember to challenge yourself every day and always do your best. Always do your best. Always doing your best doesn't, you have to be okay with it. All right? At the end of the day, if you do something and you finish it, do the best you can and move on. There's nothing else you can do. There's nothing, no more energy, no more thinking, no more additional instructions need to be had. Just do the best you can, and that's the end of it. Be okay with that. I know that's tough, but you need to be okay with it. So how are you guys doing today? I see Benny came in here today. Nice to see you, Benny. You're trying, Abigail? Life of Bucci. I'm doing good, Sarah Conway. Appreciate you. Thanks for asking. Everything is great here. I just, I'm getting on every Thursday at 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock, at 6 o'clock. So every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be here. Remember, on February 2nd, we're going to start the book Unstoppable Self-Confidence, and we're going to go chapter by chapter each week. The link to this book is in my bio if you're interested, but if you just want to come and listen, you can. I'll talk through the book and pull out some quotes and we'll get through it. But it's a really good book. I think, I think the content in this book is exactly what we all need. How to defeat negativity, right? Taking 100% responsibility. How many people in your life do you wish would do that? All right. The problem with the blame game. There's another one, a good section of this. I can't wait to dive into it. Eliminating the habit of fear and worry. The true worry price, the price of worry. This book, procrastination's in here. All of it's in here. So, and each week, starting on the 2nd, we're going to go chapter by chapter with this book. So, listen, I want you to know that it's going to be okay. I want you to know that you're important and you mean something. You do. Shine. You all have something to bring to a table. You all have something of value. And most often, it's just as simple as your heart, your presence. You don't have to be famous. You don't need to have 20 degrees. You don't need to have anything else but a conscience, a care for others, and a positive outlook for yourself. And that's really what matters. But you must remember, in the world of where you come first, that means you come first. It means you need to take all the things that you have focused on before you and shift your priorities around to make sure that you are number one. Because you are. There's only one person who's going to get you through this life, and that's you. It's not your best friend. It's not your TikTok people. It's not anybody but you. It's about waking up and making good decisions. It's about waking up and reminding yourself of your weaknesses. It's about waking up and reminding yourself to stay positive, to think positively, and you'll manifest the positivity. You are loved. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week. Take care.